How do you feel about the city's current financial situation with regard to its debt, and where do you see it going?
Well, I think as we sit here today, I think our debt reduction strategy is really going to start showing big dividends for the city of Dubuque. We've got a very quick drop in the debt load over the next 5 years that we are experiencing. I think that debt was debt that I would reissue had I have that opportunity, because I think it really went to some projects that have created the Dubuque that we have today. A lot of infrastructure work that was kicked down the road that we weren't addressing, and we were able to borrow that money at historically low interest rates. So that was a big savings for our citizens when you consider the fact that these things had to be done, and the longer you wait, the more deteriorated the facilities become and the higher the cost as inflation takes effect.
Okay. But what about that, coming at the cost of a high debt load that led to credit rating downgrades and a high utilization of the city's debt limit?
Well, we were getting up on our debt limit, and certainly needed that strategy to reduce it, which we embarked on in 2015. But all of that was strategic debt. It was very critical things that we were doing in the city of Dubuque, and we are getting that paid off. We're increasing our reserves. We did take a hit on our bond rating, but it's still a very good rating at AAA 3, I believe it is, or AA 3. But really, I think when history shows what occurred over the past 10 years and what benefits that brought to citizens of the city of Dubuque, I think it will be looked at as really a time of renaissance in the city.
I think the debt reduction strategy that we've seen and approved within this current fiscal year 18 budget does show that we are headed in the right direction. It does show that we are looking at some debt reduction targets, and that we're looking to get ourselves down from an overall budget expense. The debt utilization is projected to get itself down below 50% and continue down below 30% by 2027, according to this plan, which is a good plan. However, I do hope that we're able to stick to that plan. Because in the past we've also seen some very promising debt reduction strategies and mappings of where we should be that haven't come to fruition. So I'm hoping that as we continue to progress year over year, that we stick to those, and we do provide the citizens with the needed debt reduction that we've promised them as we go forward.
So feel that the current debt reduction strategy or plan needs to be, a little bit more defined? Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. I know during the last goal setting session, I was an advocate for having some type of cap or some kind of established guideline that we should stick with when it comes to our debt reduction that we're following. And I still believe that. I believe strongly that whenever we follow a very vague plan where we're just trying to issue less than what we're retiring, I think it leaves a lot to be desired there. Where if we know that by the year 2020 we're supposed to be at a 52% debt utilization, then obviously we know what kind of budget we're going to be planning for that year from a capital improvement and from an operating perspective. Then we have the numbers to start with. We know where we expect to be at that point, and to have a plan to say that is where we should be and that is the level of total budget that we have available to ourselves to make everything work, I think that gives us a better starting point, where you know that maybe our operating budget at that point may be, or a total debt at that point that we're using as 200 and let's say 50 million, just to throw a number out there, then we got to balance then what does a capital improvement budget look like, what does the operating budget look like that stays within that 250 million mark, and then make those tough decisions based on that, as opposed to leaving it very open again and being able to spend it on anything that may come up between now and then. I think we have to be willing to make those tough decisions when they occur. However, if you don't have a set number, if you don't have that benchmark that you're targeting, how do you ever expect yourselves to get there if you don't have that?